Good day, Industrial Advisor listeners, and thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please do so by clicking subscribe wherever you podcast. Click the like button and hit the bell if you want notifications of when we put up new content. Leave us a comment about anything we discuss here today or general comments about the show. Now, let's get into it.
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. We are live at IAMC in Boise, Idaho. We have Marcus Rose joining us today. You have Bill Condon and Matt McGregor. Marcus is the corporate real estate manager at NFI, where he manages over 180 locations, and I think he said 33 million square feet of product. So very busy. Prior to that, Marcus spent some time at JLL and CB, but great to have you with us here, Marcus. Appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate it, guys. You know, they say that you tackle the hardest thing first thing in the morning, so this is it right here.
This is early. Thanks for being the first guest.
Yeah,
Right.
First one.
It sounded like a great idea until I started moving this morning. I'm like, why are we doing it so early? Well, Marcus, tell us a little bit about your hobbies outside of work.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? What do you enjoy when you're not working?
Yeah, so I'm a big outdoors guy, so I love hiking, biking. You know, one of the big hobbies I picked up over the pandemic a couple of years ago was skydiving.
Wow.
So it was, couldn't find anything else to do, and skydivings were
Jump
still
out of
open.
planes.
So yeah, it was fun.
That's a hobby. How often can you do? Like, how often do you do
Right.
that?
So it started off as just like a bucket list type thing, right?
Yeah.
And,
Sure.
Then
a tandem.
A tandem,
was
yeah.
the first one.
And I don't know if you've been skydiving, but it's
One
pretty,
time.
pretty expensive to go tandem.
Yeah.
So I got convinced that, well, if I get my license, it'll be cheaper. So
Okay.
then, 30, 40 jumps later, I'm like,
Oh,
"Sure, this is-"
Wow. So you have to do 30 or 40 tandems to get there?
No.
Okay.
They put you out by yourself the first class, actually. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But no, it was enjoyable. But, mainly, I grew up in Virginia, so, in the mountains. And so I've always been more of an outdoors person. So living in Philly now and outside of Philly, there's a lot of good hiking trails, a lot of good biking. So it's been great.
That's great. Have you gotten outside here at the conference yet? I hear there's great hikes around here.
Absolutely. And it's been great. Well, I wanted to do a hike, did not do a hike, but I've been biking around the city a good bit. So, certainly surprising. Boise's great. I don't believe they market it well enough because I don't know. My expectation here wasn't as it's a little bit different than what I've experienced in the last few days. So it's been good.
Well,
Yeah.
It's certainly been a boom town. I mean, you see so many new houses, and the population growth has been crazy since COVID.
Right. I heard that. Yeah, actually, my Uber driver told me on the way in, so it was refreshing. And I left Philly and it was probably 80, 90 degrees, humidity like streaming, and like you get
Yes.
here and you get the low humidity desert weather. It's
For sure.
it's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, but a lot of people moved from California, Seattle, Portland during the pandemic, and so
Right.
I have friends that are here that just love it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great city.
Awesome.
So, Marcus, tell us a little bit about why you joined IAMC. What brought you to the organization?
Sure. So when I started NFI, one of my bosses, Troy Adams, who's been an IAMC member for some time, and so I think he actually was on the economic development side when he started. So quite honestly, I knew nothing about IAMC. He was like, "This is, a conference you've got to go to." And so, I showed up first. I think Kansas City was my first one. No expectations, and I was like, well, this is going to be similar maybe to a broker event, something like I
Right.
know there'll be, customers here that we have. And so, but, it was a really fun first conference for me. I mean, Kansas City, this was coming right out of the pandemic as well. So I was just
Yeah.
happy to see people.
For sure. That was a great conference.
Yeah.
That's a
but,
good starting
yeah.
point.
So really I was encouraged, by our company to go and really I've been pretty excited about continuing to go to these forums. So
That's great. Are you involved with any committees or anything?
yeah, so I'm on the Emerging Leaders Committee. So
Great.
I got my one ribbon for that. So
Looks
Excellent.
good. Looks
Excellent.
good.
yeah, there's some people that have like 7, 8 ribbons around here, and I'm like, I need to start here. You got to start slow. But I just joined the membership committee, and so I'm
Great.
excited about kind of getting started there as well. This is like I said, like I've gone to thousands of broker events. I'm not a huge fan of going to broker events.
Sure.
This is something that I really
It's
have
a little
embraced,
different.
and it's just a different feel, and
Yes.
it's good. Everyone here is very friendly, open, and so I've had a great time.
Yeah, the people here are really, really great. So there's a lot of benefits, right, to IAMC. What are some of the advantages that kind of stand out to you about IAMC?
Yeah, well, strangely enough, a lot of our customers are members of IAMC, and so just having additional time to get in front of them and not talk business, but just kind of talk about family, talk about just it opens. IAMC gives you that that opportunity to kind of sit down at a kind of face-to-face level. Brokers as well, economic developers, like there's certainly big advantages for us to be out speaking with you guys and making these relationships. So
That's great. One thing I know, I think this is my 7th year, that I've always been amazed with is the education here. Talk to us a little bit about that. What are you going to today, and what do you enjoy about the education?
Well, so we just yesterday was, and so I think yesterday was my 3rd professional development since being a member at IMC. Really great. Each time there's been a little bit different of topic, and so I think it's a great kind of platform to kind of, especially if you're younger in your career in corporate real estate, to come here and get some of these things. So yesterday, just for brief summary, that we had an attorney come and speak to us about lease language. And
great.
I haven't studied lease language probably since I took my real estate exam, but it was good to have a good refresher, and we had active participation. There's things that came up that I'm like, I forgot about this. So I think we get a lot of good education here. And then when you're not at the forum, there's a kind of engagement as well through Zoom that we've had, where we'll have someone come in, and I certainly highly recommend it. I think the program's still evolving, and looking forward to seeing kind of where it goes.
Yeah. Now, yesterday was the leadership one. Is you get 5 or 6 to
I think it's 5.
get your fellowship?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Great.
I've been trying to knock those out as quick as possible.
2 more to go?
Yeah. 2 more to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very good.
That's nice. Well, now some of the educational stuff, they don't let brokers in. They keep the brokers out, right? They do what they call corporate only, right? So you're amongst your peers. I imagine you find value in some of those sessions where it's just you and your peers, and you guys are sharing best practices. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, I looked at the itinerary, right, and I saw they were corporate only type events. So initially I was like, well, how much are people going to open up, right? These could be, not necessarily competitors, but you want to kind of keep your secret sauce sometimes to yourself.
For
But
sure.
I found it very, reassuring. I think that, if you think about the pandemic, these were more like therapy sessions for all the corporates, right, coming in and saying, well, gosh, these landlords are, screwing us, and like, what are you doing for this? And so bouncing ideas off is very important. And, I think we tend to feel on islands in a sense when you're back at your company. Your core business really isn't real estate, but you support your company, right? And so when you come to IMC, you're around other people that are trying to strategically figure out their portfolios just like you, how to make decisions. And, it's good to really be able to be in an environment where you can bounce those ideas and try to find some solutions together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point, because you think about, for so long, it's the industrial market's been so strong. And so for users, it's been tough, right? I mean, you didn't have a lot of leverage. And so
Absolutely.
being able to be amongst your peers and talk about strategy and ideas and how to navigate your way through a challenging market on the user side, right? I'm sure it was really beneficial.
Absolutely, yeah. And, I think that, especially if you're younger in your career, I mean, it's invaluable to be able to come here and speak with folks that have been doing this for years, right? And be able to kind of, help kind of guide your way. And I felt, very supported in that way.
It's funny, Marcus, you mentioned the corporate only session, and for the listener, obviously it is what it is. It's corporates only. And my first conference was in Philadelphia 7 years ago, and I didn't read anything. I just drifted into a room and I sat down at a table. They started, and all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, this table, I must have hit the jackpot. This table is like 8 people. They're all corporate heads of real estate of these companies. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. And then the topic, it was roundtable topic, was how to pick a broker. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I get to do this. And so they start talking, and I'm like the 3rd person to go, and I'm just about to open my mouth, right? Full pitch mode, right?
Yep.
Right? I get a tap on the shoulder. This guy goes out. Come here. This is corporate only. You got to go. Right? Yeah. So I learned my lesson really quick.
You were
Fox
so
and the hen house
yeah,
over there, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That was my first conference. So it's Monday for the listeners. This is Friday. They're listening on a Friday likely. But the session goes Sunday through Wednesday. So today is Monday morning. So tell us a little bit about your plans over the next few days. What are you going to do inside and outside the conference?
Yeah. So, first of all, I got here I got here Friday. I made sure that I got here early enough to be able to
Great.
explore the city. Once Monday hits, I try to spend most of my time inside the conference, right, inside in meeting folks. So I know there's a couple, big keynotes this morning that I'm going to go to. Some of my favorites that I love attending is the, Get Some Help sessions. That's typically on the back end of the conference. Again, another therapy session. Everyone gets to kind of voice their, concerns and their, gripes and try to get some feedback from other folks. And then there's a few other, just kind of the off the top of my head, I can't think about it, but there's a couple of the kind of smaller group settings here we'll get to attend as well. So
Great.
Well, it's going to be a great conference. Thanks for sharing your insights on it, and enjoy the week. When do you wrap up? Wednesday?
So, Wednesday. Yeah. I'll be out of here middle of the day Wednesday, and trying to navigate my ways back to Philadelphia. So
yeah, not easy probably getting from Boise to Philly.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're here, so
that's right.
I love it. That's what counts.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.